What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. We're going to talk and discuss an email that I got from Paul Roberts. Paul sent me this email and asked me if I've ever heard of Rick Mayall, R-I-K-M-A-Y-A-L-L. And I actually hadn't. So what happened was, he was a well-known British comedian who died of an acute heart attack. Before he died, he gained a lot of weight and stopped jogging. He then decided to start jogging and died from an acute heart attack when he started jogging. Now, what's interesting is, and what Paul I think is, kind of getting at is, when someone decides to start a program or start an exercise, like you go to the doctor and he says your cholesterol's high, you got to do this, you got to do that, start exercising. When you leave there, the first thing in your mind is start exercising. So what do? You fucking do a little bit of research, you try to find what you can, and you grab this workout program that is, okay, I've had people say, look, I'm going to start an hour a day of cardio, I'm going to go fucking running, and I'm going to train with weights 5 times a week, and I'm like, dude, you haven't done anything for 4 years. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you have to transition into what you're doing. Now, I learned this quite a while ago, and I learned it by competing in bodybuilding competitions, and what I did from off-season to pre-contest. There is definitely a point where you can fuck things up that the body goes into. It's not technically goes into shock. I call it shock, but it essentially goes into shock. It does. It starts to shut down. It starts to go into survival mode, and what it basically does is try to not die. I mean, plain and simple. And what happens is sometimes that's taxed to the point where the heart actually shuts down. Now, I'm not talking about for bodybuilding competition, but about talking about people exerting themselves, especially if they had some kind of underlying problem that they may or may not have known about. Now, I would transition from off-season into pre-competition diet. I would sit down, like many people, and calculate all my calories out. So, like on Friday, I'd be calculating everything out because I'm going to start Monday. And I said, okay, I need this much protein, this much carbs, this much this, and I'm going to start cardio, fucking blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to, chain, I'm going to add a couple sets here and there, and I would start on Monday. Now, by the following Friday, okay, I started Monday, Friday, I'm already tired, lethargic, getting weak, feeling awful, like grumpy, I mean, all these things. What the hell happened? You did too much too fast. Your body essentially shut down and makes you fucking miserable. That's kind of the effect, to let you know, hey, something's going on. If you don't listen to that, something worse is going to happen, okay? And you're overtrained and then eventually you get an injury. In this guy's case, death. He pushed it too hard and he died. Now, why does this happen? Well, what the fuck? It's not like a Ferrari. You can't step on the fucking gas and go from 0 to 100 in fucking 3 seconds. You know what I mean? The human body's just not like that. Although all of us are impatient and we would like to do that, we'd like to be further along in our program when we started, right when we started, but that's not how it works. It's not how the body works. The body, essentially, if it's taxed too much like anything else, it will shut down. When you get hit in the jaw, there's a bunch of nerves that run through your jaw. Now, everybody knows the knockout shot is in the jaw. When you get hit in the jaw, those nerves all get hit at the same time. You don't even have to be hit very hard. The brain essentially shuts down because it can't handle the stimulus of all those nerves being hit at the same time. So that's why when you get hit, people go, oh, it was a knockout punch, it wasn't even that hard. Didn't matter. It hit that area where the brain couldn't figure out what the fuck is going on, and it shuts down. There are actually strike points that I learned in Guanjido. Maybe you guys didn't know this, but I took Guanjido for years and actually got to the point where I was instructor level, which is a form of kind of like Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's martial art, but he's the only one that could really teach that. So this one was kind of a takeoff on that someone had pieced together. And there were actually places where you could punch, and it comes from, I believe it's Wing Chun Kung Fu. There are places you can punch on the human body, like, for instance, in the shoulder, in the side of the shin, and on the arm at the same time. It's 3 strikes at the same time, nowhere near the face, and because you hit those nerves at the same time, the brain shuts down, and it's a knockout punch from hitting him in the shoulder. So you see, like, the body, when it can't handle something, shuts down. That's what it wants to do. It doesn't want to die, but it wants to shut down, repair itself, and essentially reboot. So if you push it too fast, too hard, too fast, that's what's going to happen. Now, if you don't listen to that, I mean, I'm sure that this guy doing this exercise program, there were signs. There were signs. There was like heart palpitations, tiredness, maybe, who knows, like pain shooting down the arms, out of breath too easy, like, which is really not normal. I mean, there was probably signs before this happened, and he didn't listen. He kept pushing. There's always something that, in retrospect, you can look at afterwards and say, well, of course, this was happening. I should have listened to this. This is what was really going on. But people have a tendency to not really listen to it. They say, okay, I don't know if it's due to being stupid or being tough. Some people, I know, my ex-girlfriend's grandfather got up in the middle of the night, had a little heartburn, went back to bed and died. He was having a heart attack. And he was that tough that, it's not funny that he passed away, but he was that tough that he didn't even think a heart attack was a big deal. He went back to bed and died. So be aware, if you're going to start a program, whether it's pre-contest or you went to the doctor and he told you to start training, or, you know, in general, you just haven't been doing much and you're like, look, it's time that I get back on track and nobody told you to do it. You have to transition into it. Your body has to be able to adapt, and it will adapt to anything. But the problem is if you throw too much too fast, it can't adapt. The energy reserves, nothing is there that can do it instantly. And that is what's going to cause some issues. So I guess the take-home message from this whole thing is pick your plan. Make sure that it's not too much. Ease into it. Start with maybe 2 days a week of doing some walking around the neighborhood. When that's easy, move to 3 days a week doing some walking around the neighborhood. When that's too easy, during the weekdays, do some walking around the neighborhood. When that's too easy, make it a daily thing. Now you have a daily routine. You do your walk around the neighborhood, but don't just jump right into it and walk 16, 25 miles a day on your first day, because you're probably going to have some kind of weird injury or maybe have a heart attack like this guy. So be aware. Ease into it. Progress. When it gets easier, that's how you're adapting and you're getting better. You're building up a quote-unquote tolerance for exercise, and you can add on to that. And it's a lot safer than jumping feet first into all kinds of shit that your body's not ready for. Biosretraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biosretraining.com is a blog, and where this is the ease into it bicep, because I learned the hard way, and we're out.